And welcome back to Swords and Feather. And if you are new here, my name is Feather. I am a brand new YouTuber, honestly just doing it to improve myself because I love it, because I genuinely enjoy making videos. And I am doing a short mini series about electric forest and electric forest prep. So this channel is not typically going to have this type of content on here, but if you watched my last video, you know that I am making these videos for the version of myself 10 years ago at 21 years old who made all of the mistakes, brought all of the wrong things, wasted so much money, and honestly got myself into situations that dampened my experience. And so now in 2026, when gas prices are on the rise, everything's more expensive than ever, I just feel really called to put together these videos for that version of me 10 years ago, for my friends and family who are new and going to electric forest, and to just make this a simple, fun, easy process for everybody. So in my last video, we talked all about camp setup, layouts, all of that stuff. So today's video is just only going to be focused on setting up your perfect festival camp kitchen, as well as what food I've actually brought and what has actually worked for me. And, you know, trying to be healthy, trying to save money, trying to, you know, not waste food. Again, with everything being so expensive these days, it being a huge investment for anybody to even come and do this festival. You know, we are all needing advice and guidance to, again, make sure that we're protecting our assets and we're not spending any money that we don't need to spend, and just like going through all of that. Just, it sucks. It sucks to bring food. It sucks to forget to bring things. It sucks to overpack. And if you're like me, where your friend group doesn't have an RV, isn't going to rent a giant van, like it's really just you, your friends, and your vehicles going to the festival, this meal plan and camp festival kitchen setup is going to be perfect for you. And so at the end of this video, if you have any suggestions, comments, questions, anything like that, like I said before, this will be my 10th electric forest. Electric forest has been a part of my life for 13 years now. And or 15 years, 13 years, 15 years? 13 years, yes, 13 years it's been a part of my life for 13 years now. And it is such a special experience, such a special place. So with that all being said, let's just go ahead and let's get into our camp kitchen. And so I've made a simple list here so you can just screenshot it. It's a visual aid, it's a list. And so of everything that you need to bring and what food I recommend for you to pack. And so yeah, so let's just get right into it, because honestly, this is a much easier section. And when you have a plan and you're not wasting your time buying food that's not gonna ultimately work out, it's a really good thing. And the other thing that I really wanted to touch upon is, you know, there's been some negativity just throughout the electric forest community, just like what I've seen other YouTubers say and what in relates to food at electric forest. So it just seems like overall there's like a big misunderstanding about the price of food at the festival, and I just want to shed like a little bit of light onto why the cost of food seems really high when you're buying from a vendor at electric forest. And so the first thing that I want to talk about is that these are small businesses that are coming to electric forest to provide a service. it is not easy to set up their business in a place like Electric Forest. And these small businesses are paying a booth fee. And I don't know what the booth fee is, but I imagine that it's anywhere between $500 and $1,000. That seems to be reasonable to me depending on where it's located in the festival as well. So when you think about it that way, these vendors are coming in, again, working in really difficult conditions. There's not air conditioning, there's not easy refrigeration, there's not, electricity. And they need to have like talented staff, not just people who know how to use a credit card machine, like people who know how to cook, have customer service skills, and can do the whole shebang, like manage a kitchen and everything like that. So when you think about it that way, they're coming into the festival, they're doing all of that, they're paying these booth fees to be there, they're providing a difficult service in a very difficult situation. And, with food, traditionally profit margins are already really small versus if you are, a clothing store or like anything else like that, you can mark up your things quite a bit and have strong profit margins. And so in your head, you're probably like, why is Electric Forest charging these booth fees and whatever? But it makes sense because they also need to offset their costs for implementing all of the infrastructure, the signage, the booths themselves. There's special employees that they probably have to keep on staff to help the vendors out. The vendors all need a place to camp and stay. So when you take all of that into account and now you are going to Electric Forest and you're buying food there, now all of a sudden the price doesn't seem super unreasonable. So I just wanted to say that as a disclaimer. People have been upset about their food being taken away by security and this and that. And truthfully, when you hear that explanation, you kind of deserve to have your food confiscated by security because, again, these vendors are working their tails off, usually in extreme heat, working really insane hours, again, not having normal amenities, all to make sure that, if you need food, you've got food. So I just really wanted to talk about that because I've been really disappointed in seeing the negativity around the cost of food. I'm not saying that it's cheap, but I'm also saying that when you understand the business aspect behind it, like Electric Forest and these food vendors aren't trying to capitalize on your needs. They're not just stopping you from bringing in food because they like it and it's fun. Like, if genuinely, I'm sure if everybody could be so self-reliant that they didn't even need to have food vendors at this festival, like that would actually make life so much easier. So just like keep that in mind. Oh, I got a little fuzzy thing here. Whatever. So just please keep that in mind. And if you see somebody like spreading that negativity, just, remind them that, again, these are small businesses. They deserve to make money. They really, really do, for all the hard work, like bringing all of that food, cooking it all up for you. And, I get it. It's expensive. But let's not bash Electric Forest and let's not bash the vendors for that. They are just trying to make a profit to pay their people and to keep their business going. And I think that's a great thing and a really positive thing. But on the flip side, if you can do a really great job setting up your camp kitchen and bringing the right ingredients, then you can balance eating really great hot food from the vendors and saving a lot of money by eating at camp, which is how we like to do it. So for most of us, I think a lot of us are going to be showing up on Wednesday. So you need to think about what food and what meals you need from Wednesday to Sunday, possibly even Monday morning. Typically on Wednesday, that is the day that we're going to eat all of our meals at camp. We don't want to go to the vendors or anything like that. But then as soon as the festival starts, what I kind of recommend for everybody is that, have your breakfast ready to go, have one other big meal that you want to eat at your campsite ready to go, whether that's your lunch or your dinner or a combination of both, and then me and my friends, we always will grab something in the festival and split it, even if we're buying a smoothie. By the way, the smoothies at Sherwood Court are my favorite. They're the least watered down. Even a smoothie, a big cup smoothie, 4 of us can share it. And island noodles, we're usually splitting that between 2 or 3 people. So a lot of the vendor food is perfect for you know, I just kind of need a little something right now to hold me over. And then I'm gonna eat like more at the camp, and then you can share it with your friends. So that really breaks up the cost. And so that's like kind of what we do. And then my other pro tip is I always recommend for every single person to eat before they go to sleep. And I know that that's normally not the healthy way to do things. Trust me, I know I would never do this in my everyday life, but I have found that, you know, electric force is such an intense and extreme experience. You're being stimulated all day, all night by music, by lasers, by crazy crowds. You're walking way more, you're dancing way more, you're out in the elements, you're not indoors at all. And so the combination of all of those things really takes a toll on your body. And then not to mention if you are, you know, participating or partaking in any sort of alcohol, smoking, you know, psychedelics, everything else that you may be partaking in, it is so important that you eat before you go to sleep. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump into the supplies. So I talked about this a little bit in the last video, but having 2 coolers, if possible, definitely is a game changer, because you want to open the cooler that has your highly perishable food as little as possible. So if you can separate that from your drink cooler, then that can go a really long way. If you can do 3 coolers and again move around the perishables, that's even better. But again, if you're just limited on space, definitely having 2 camping coolers, one for your drinks and one for your perishable foods, will definitely help that food stay longer and for you to go through less ice. Obviously, you know, I'm sure you've heard this tip and trick before, very easy, but you know, freezing your water bottles, freezing your coffee, freezing, you know, food that you're gonna eat, you know, like the later half of the festival, all are great ideas to help keep your cooler cold and prevent you from spending as much money as possible on ice. And just, you know, remember that it sometimes makes more sense to invest in a higher cost cooler that's going to do a better job of insulating all of your food and holding ice versus spending a bunch of money on ice the entire time that you're at the festival to keep your coolers cold. So that was definitely something that I learned the hard way, just bringing random coolers that just suck, and then you're just spending so much money on ice and all of that money is gone, versus we invested in Lifetime brand coolers, and those are awesome. They have crushed, and again, they work in so many different occasions outside of electric forest, and it's just one of those things that's probably gonna have easier resale value if you decide that you're not gonna keep your gear. So that is my recommendation there. And then as far as just like prep things that you should bring, you're definitely gonna wanna bring a small knife, a cutting board, a spatula. I personally prefer bringing reusable plates and cutlery. I don't like using paper, but obviously a lot of people just have that stuff laying around. So, you know, if you've got it, use it. But for me, I just, you know, bought a cheap like picnic plastic kit that's reusable that I use every single year moving forward. And I don't mind like washing the dishes if it means that I'm reducing that waste. And so for cooking setup, you know, obviously people bring all kinds of things. I've seen people bring entire grills. I don't actually think they're technically allowed, but if you have a giant van, you might be able to hide one in there. But for, like I said, for the rest of us that are like, it's just me and my friends in this car, a camping stove is gonna be exactly what you need, you know, depending on how large your group is. I might recommend getting a larger one, like getting a double burner one versus a single burner one if it's going to be a bunch of you using it. You know, I think for 4 people, a single burner camp stove will do just fine. And then you obviously want to bring extra fuel to go with that. But with all of that, you'll have everything that you need to do like some minimal cooking stuff. And then for water, we talked about this in the last video too, but investing in a bulk water jug with a spigot. So everything that I'm recommending now, I actually have linked in my other video, the camp the camping video. So if you are wanting just to not have to think about it and use things that actually have worked, and you can go ahead and do that. I'm not an influencer. I don't even know how to set up an Amazon shop, to be honest. I don't care. I actually am an entrepreneur. I have a full-time career as a financial consultant for businesses. So I just, I have multiple streams of income that I don't need to be an influencer. So go feel free to check out that video if you're just looking for specific products that you can just go and grab and buy and know that they work great. But a bulk water jug, if you can fill it up with filtered water before you come, you can shower with it, you can wash your face with it, you can brush your teeth, and you can do all of your dishes and obviously do any cooking stuff that you might need. So I definitely think that's a part of your camping kitchen that should be included. Obviously, you got to have all of your cleaning supplies, a dish soap, sponge, cleaning spray, paper towels. I hate paper towels. I like using reusable cloth. My husband loves paper towels, so we bring both. And then extra Ziploc bags. You can never have enough extra Ziploc bags. If you don't use them, then you just kind of keep them at home anyways, and they don't really go to waste. So a couple storage bins is always nice to organize some of your items. Things that are dry foods go great in there. Drinks that don't need to go in the cooler quite yet can go in there. It really helps keep things organized, and it's easy to bring on the trip and put other things in there as it empties out. And then you gotta have trash bags. I think they give you a trash bag when you get there, but again, I don't know if they give you one or if you can get more. We just always bring a bunch of our own. And then I also invested in last year a pop-up trash can because I just hate the way that tying up the trash on like one of your easy ups, I just hate it. It looks trashy. No pun intended, but it looks trashy. So I got a pop-up trash can, and then I tuck that underneath the table, and it's so much better. I just like not having to look at garbage. And obviously you got to have a couple folding tables, at least one decent sized folding table. Like the biggest folding table that we bring is for our kitchen setup, so just have that folded up and ready to go, and that's everything you need for your festival kitchen. So we can just go ahead and move right into foods and like meals and just kind of like our thought process, like my groups and like what we've been through and what we've seen actually work in this setting. Because you just have to remember, you're trying to be healthy, you're trying to save money, you're also gonna be a little bit out of it, like you know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna be really stimulated, you're gonna be having FOMO, like you're gonna want to go back to the party, it's gonna be crazy. Like it's just a little bit chaotic. So, the people who show up and like cook these insanely fancy meals, like bravo to you. Me personally, I am the one who ends up cooking for everybody and all my friends, my husband as well. But it's just like the amount of meals that I've cooked for my friends over the years, like they will never be able to catch up. And so like when I'm there, I'm like, I don't want to cook. Like I don't want to cook for any of you guys. Like you guys are going to cook for me while I'm here. And I actually do force one of my friends to make me quesadillas the whole time that we're there, because I cook for her all the time, and my husband does too. So so if you're like me, where you're like, I want all those things, but I don't want to have to be like cooking a meal. Like I just want to get up and go. Then this is going to be like a great meal plan for you. So I did have ChatGPT help me make this list, because ChatGPT just has a way of using emojis that's just like, it would take me forever to pull all these emojis out. So it's so funny. Basically, for your fruits and your veggies, there's an emoji for that. So carrots, cucumbers, pickles, bell peppers, cherry tomatoes, baby spinach, avocado. You guys can read, you can see all of that stuff. So all of the fruits and veggies that I have recommended here are the ones that have survived. They don't go bad. Everybody actually enjoys eating them. And so, a lot of these fruits and veggies, a lot of times for breakfast, we will just eat raw fruits and veggies. And okay, so back to the fruits and veggies. The fruits and veggies work out excellent because, you know, you can chop them up, you can eat them raw. I honestly think because it's so hot out there, even if raw fruits and veggies don't sound tasty to you now, once you're at camp and it's really hot outside, the raw foods get even more and more appetizing. And so for breakfast, we'll often just like we'll cut up a bunch of these fruits and veggies, fry up a couple pieces of bacon, have a little bit of iced coffee, maybe have like a little cheese, and like kind of have like a lighter breakfast. And then when we get into the festival, we'll kind of like split like a smoothie and like a meal together. So that is definitely my recommendation. I feel awesome when I eat the raw fruits and veggies for breakfast. And then the other cool thing too is like obviously you can have them as your side and lunch. You can like throw them into your meals at dinner. So all of these things do really, really well in the coolers. They don't go bad. They do great. So as far as snacks and candy goes, we always bring like various different types of chips. I like kettle chips and different types of jerky. Obviously bring your bars, your trail mix. Those types of things come in handy as well. My husband and I, we discovered these lollipops called Chupa Chups, and they are superior to every other lollipop. You know, it's actually so funny because every year we go to Forest, people will trade lollipops with us. It just happens. And like when they try a Chupa Chup, it just blows their mind. It's made out of Mexican cane sugar. They're just the bomb, okay? So don't even waste your time buying other lollipops. Just trust me on this. Get Chupa Chups. High chews. A lot of people obviously love gum. I just like gum 4 days in a row. I can't do it, so I like mints and like candies and stuff like that if I'm gonna have anything like that. And then, you know, before I go to sleep, is like usually when I eat like chips and jerky. But I'll talk more about that in a little bit, about like my late night eating strategy and like why I do that, because honestly, it took me a really long time to figure out that it's actually not that terrible for you when you're at Forest, and we'll get into that. As far as meats and cheeses go, we've tried lots of different things in terms of meats and cheeses. Lunch meats, like we can't get lunch meat to keep. It just always goes bad in the first couple of days. So what we've started to do, and this has been the best, is we will grill like a bunch of chicken tenderloin, and specifically chicken tenderloin because, you know, dark meat doesn't really taste good cold. Chicken breast, nobody in our group really likes chicken breast already. So tenderloins are perfect because they taste delicious grilled, they taste delicious cold, and they really keep the whole time. Like I've never had them go bad, versus every other type of meat I've ever tried to bring will go bad. So I cannot recommend grilling chicken tenderloin and bringing that. And again, you can put that in anything now. Like you can put that in a wrap, you can put it in a salad, you can eat it by itself. It's just a really versatile meat that doesn't go bad very easily. And then we also last year we pre-cooked and grilled some steaks before we came. And so obviously you have to eat those within the first 2 to 3 days that you're there. But it was just nice to have a red meat alternative. And it also tastes really good. Like a thin steak also tastes really good cold. So those are definitely the two meats. And then for bacon, we always have bacon every single morning that we're there. And then we take it out of the packaging and we cut it in half. And then we put it in a Ziploc bag. It just cooks a lot easier that way. So versus doing the full strips. And so if you just do that little bit of meal prepping for your meats, you will have a great time and it will meet all of your needs. And again, all three of those meats are very interchangeable. If you are vegetarian, you know, I haven't tried this specifically, but maybe bringing like pre-grilled portobello caps would be really awesome. You know, I think there's a lot of bean options, but yeah, I'm not a vegetarian, and I don't eat like I avoid soy like the plague, so like those processed seed oil stuff, like as much as possible. So I just don't really have that much experience if you are a vegetarian. But For cheeses, we always find that Baby Bell cheeses work great. We always bring an extra large bag of Mexican shredded cheese. And again, normally I don't eat a lot of processed things. I don't eat a lot of things with seed oils, but when you are out there camping in an electric forest, like preservatives are going to be your friend. And because otherwise things will just spoil. And it's not like, you're just going to have to compromise here and there because you are on a horse ranch, you are camping. So just to get every single thing perfect would be exhausting. And again, you just want things to last. And I still feel great eating all these foods. If I were to eat like that normally, I think it would be more of a problem, but you will still feel great out there. And then for carbs, we have tried every type of carb. We've tried homemade bread, we've tried pocket pitas, we've literally everything that you can possibly think of. And the only things that have held up for us carb wise are Mike's Organic Cup Ramen. So this was something that we randomly tried last year, and it was a great success because normal cup ramens are not that great for you. So we found this brand called Mike's Organic. I'm sure you might have heard of it. I'll like post a picture of it. But we bought a bunch of these last year, and honestly, they were really great in the morning for breakfast. And then obviously, if you want to eat something before you go to bed, it's a great for that too. And the only part of it that we didn't use is the oil packet that it comes with. But obviously, you just boil water, and we bring our own bottle of olive oil, so we toss that in there, and like it's just really nice and hydrating and soothing after a night of partying to have that. And then tortillas are also, again, like they do have preservatives. We buy flour tortillas, and yeah, they have preservatives in them, but honestly, preservatives are going to be your friend in this situation. Like, so of all the meats or of all the carbs that we brought, that the tortillas are the best. And they're very versatile. So obviously, I love quesadillas. That is like, I'm eating a quesadilla every night before I go to bed. That is my must. That is my electric forest tradition, and I will make my friend make one for me. And I will take it to the late night set with me or take it into my tent to go to sleep. Like, it is my emotional support late night treat. So flour is best for this situation. And then you can have wraps obviously during the day. And so we'll talk more about the meals because obviously we've talked about a lot of the ingredients, but how do we put it all together and make it into a meal? We'll talk about that in a moment. And so the last thing that we've also found works really good is making a bunch of al dente pasta. And a lot of people do pasta salads, but I love pasta salad, but I want it to be freshly assembled. So I will talk about that in the next little page here. So here you can see basically the meals, when we eat what, and so breakfast is pretty straightforward. I think we kind of touched on that already. Lunch and dinner, we like to have a mix of like either having those wraps or pasta salad. So again, I don't like to make my pasta salad pre-assembled with the dressing. Like, it just gets soggy and icky, and when you're buying a salad, what's the best part about it? It's when it's freshly assembled that you pay the big bucks for that salad. So we basically put that into practice as well, and we just create like a little pasta salad bar. This is a great meal to have like on Wednesday, that first day that you get there. So we slice up the chicken, we slice up the cucumbers, you got your al dente noodles, we bring mozzarella balls, balsamic vinegar, and some spinach, and everybody just kind of makes their own bowl however they like, and it's so good this way. I don't understand why people pre-assemble pasta salad. Like, I just don't get it when you can have a fresh assembled pasta salad. And like, I just hate when everything gets mushy and like kind of soggy. But if you bring al dente noodles, like all this tastes, and it tastes so good because it's so cold and it's very refreshing. So that is definitely one of our meals that we enjoy all throughout the weekend. And then the other thing that we do is like, we just make various different kinds of wraps, like sometimes maybe you'll have a mayo and chicken and veggie wrap, or you'll have a hummus and steak wrap. With everything that we kind of talked about, you can interchange and mix it up pretty easily. So those are like 2 meals that we bring for just, you know, lunch and breakfast or lunch and dinner, you know. And then for late night, again, I don't know if I've said this already, but do not sleep do not sleep before you've eaten something, before you go to bed. Because again, you might be going to bed at like 2 or 3 a.m. You've been in the sun all day, you've been dancing all day, you've been super stimulated all day long. Like your body is not in normalcy at all. And so if you've been partaking in substances or you've been drinking, which a lot of people will be doing, this is even more important. Like if you're one of those people that's like, I'm not hungry, I'm going to sleep, like you are probably the person who needs to eat something the most. So please do not skip on eating before bed. It's so important, especially if like you didn't eat any, you know, obviously if you just ate inside the festival or whatever, like 11 or midnight or whatever, fine. But like if you haven't been eaten since dinner time and you're going to bed at like 2 or 3 a.m., it's just going to help you sleep so much better. You're going to feel so much better in the morning, and you're going to have so much energy the next day compared to if you don't. So just trust me on this. If this is, again, it took me years to figure this out. A couple of my friends were doing this for years, and I would just go to sleep. I'd be like I'm not staying up to eat quesadillas with you guys. Like I'm going to bed. Like I'm so tired. You guys are crazy. And now it's like, oh, if I just stay up a little bit longer and eat a little bit and hang out with my friends, I'll actually wake up feeling so much better than if I would have just like passed out and went to sleep. So just keep that in mind. That is definitely a pro veteran tip. Can't recommend that enough. You're going to feel so much better if you do it, and try to get your friends and family to do it as well who are with you. And so, and then we'll also talk about like nightcaps, like, you know, obviously taking your magnesium and some electrolytes before you go to sleep too. But the next page or the next part of this is just your drinks. You know, I've seen people bring all kinds of solutions for coffee. I just think bringing iced coffee is the way to go. It is the easiest. It's obviously made to be cold, and it's so hot out there that, you know, hot coffee is not always the most appetizing. And like, there's just some things that I hate paying money for, and things like a cup of coffee is like one of them. You know, like I don't want to spend $6 to $8 for your watered down like drip coffee, because the coffee that I make at home is like awesome. So that's just one thing that I'm like, I'm not going to spend money on that. That's just like a waste of money to me. So we buy the Stoke brand iced coffee, and just, you know, make sure you bring enough for your whole crew to have until you're definitely going to want some on Monday morning. So just be ready for that. You know, don't bother with any other types of coffee like that. That'll do you just right. And then I also bring creamer. And then as far as energy drinks go, whatever your preference is, don't forget to bring those. Celsiuses have been my favorite for the past couple of years. And then for hydration, we always bring coconut waters, sparkling waters, kombuchas. Obviously, if you want to, you can bring frozen water bottles of alkaline water, anything that you like. You know, just don't forget to bring those hydration focused drinks as well on top of your booze. And then let's see here. I think this is the last section, which is the supplements. So every night before we go to sleep, we make ourselves like a little nighttime cocktail, which is just magnesium and electrolytes. I would love to hear if you guys have any other things that you add, but some other things that you might want to consider bringing if you're already taking them is creatine and pre-workout. So obviously if you're somebody who's already taking creatine, bring it with you. This is a perfect situation for you to be continuing your creatine. If you haven't used creatine before, I don't know if like just randomly adding it onto this trip makes sense. So, you know, just do your own research. It has a ton of benefits. So I'll definitely be taking my creatine when I'm out there. And then if you are like kind of more of a sober raver, you know, pre-workout's one of those things that if you haven't taken it before, like definitely like test it out first, because it will give you quite the caffeine boost, like way more than coffee or anything like that. But yeah, if you've taken pre-workout before and you take pre-workout, like definitely, but you don't want to necessarily drink or or do substances, which like a lot of people do. Like I think pre-workout's a great alternative to kind of give you that fun like energy boost without, you know, without having to drink. I personally don't drink anymore. So yeah, so this is often like a pretty good alternative for me too. And so, and then lastly, you know, B12, vitamin C, I think those are two really great things. And then when you get back from the festival is a great time for you to take 5-HTP or any other herbs that will help support like any sort of like, you know, you just lose a lot of sleep out there, you lose a lot of calories. It can be a little bit tough on the mind and the brain afterwards. So anything that can, you know, support your serotonin, support your happy hormones, definitely take those things when you get back from the festival. So I really hope that was helpful. You know, I wish I had like more personal stories to say, or like I did in the last video, but truthfully, if you stick to this meal plan and this meal setup, you're gonna have a great time. You're gonna have everything you need. You're not gonna overspend on stuff that you're not gonna want to eat or not wanting to cook. And I also recommend like doing all of your meal prep the day before you leave. You don't want to, if you can help it, like don't wait till the day of to do all of your grocery shopping and everything like that. So, you know, just in case you forget things and you just don't want to be rushed. And I just don't want you to waste money on stuff that's not going to work. And honestly, with the camping setup that we have now and the meal plan that we figured out, it just makes the experience so much more enjoyable and it just eliminates a lot of stress and guessing, and so that we can really focus on the experience. And so that is what it's all about. I want you guys to have a great and safe time and feel great, and, you know, not make the same mistakes that I have made over the years of all the food wasted. And so again, if you have any recommendations, if there were things that I missed on here, or there are things that you've brought that are just foolproof and awesome ideas, please share with them in the comments. And so I think I am going to make one more electric forest themed video where I'm going to share how I pack my clothes and like what I'm packing for my clothes and for my makeup, and like do some like festival looks. I personally can't be one of those types of people that has like pre-planned outfits. Mine is more of like a capsule wardrobe because I end up, you know, I just don't know what my mood's gonna be like, and then I also get so inspired while I'm at the festival. So I don't like to like pigeonhole myself into like these are my outfits and it has to be these outfits. I like to really mix and match. Like maybe I'll have some ideas. So I'll show you guys how I pack all of my personal clothes and stuff like that. I think that would be really fun for us ladies especially. And then yeah, before you know it, it'll be almost time to go to forest. So my name again is Feather. If you see me at the festival and you saw this video, it would mean the world to me if you came to say hello. I promise I won't bite, but I am a really small YouTuber. This is a really small channel, and my last video I think is like at 175 views. That's like a lot for me. So anyways, if any one of you sees me there, I would be so stoked to meet you and say hello. And if anything in these videos have helped, like that would be so cool. That would literally be the most rewarding part about making these videos, is if like the information actually helped people, which I think it did in my last video. So yeah, but anyways, that's it. That's all I've got for now. So it was great to hang out. I hope this again was helpful. If you have anything that you'd love to share, I'd love to hear from you. And I just hope that you have the happiest, healthiest, most fun forest that you've ever had in your life. And it's an incredibly beautiful spiritual experience, no matter how you show up. And I just, again, it would mean the world to me if you came and said hello, if you see me there. So, you know, I might be in a look, so I might be hard to recognize. But again, I would love to meet any single one of you. You are the best. This festival has given me so much in my life, especially in the 13 years that it's been a part of my life. I would not be the same person. I would not have the same beliefs. I would not be chasing my dreams. I just truly, truly, truly owe so much to this festival. You know, I almost even like gave up on true love. Like I just honestly didn't even think it was possible for me. And when I went to Electric Forest, like it showed me and taught me so many important things about who I am and what type of person that I can be. And the experience has so much to give you, especially if you show up as a prepared vessel. And so, yeah, I mean, you guys are going to have the best time. It's such a special experience. It is so underrated. None of the magic of Electric Forest can ever be captured via film. And so again, I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited for you. And yeah, I'm proud of you for doing this work, to something like this, to listen to a video like this, to make sure that you and your friends have the best time. And so yeah, I'm proud of you. You are crushing it. You are gonna have the best time. And again, I'm here for you if you have any questions or anything like that. If you loved this video and you haven't seen my last one, go and check it out. And yeah, I'll see you later.